Hi everyone and welcome to another episode by Poor Man Gamer. Hopefully this time the audio is a little bit better. My apologies for the last bad audio. I checked the settings, it should be good now. Today we're going to go through how to contest all three missile pads in order to win more games and become a better player. Now, I'm going to show you guys a couple different matches I have here. I played against Nukin. Anyway, I'll go through it later. So a lot of the people that I find right now, whether it's in the Poor Man Gamer clan, the clan that I'm in right now, or players in general, a lot of them end up stalling around Masters 2, Masters 3, Masters 2, Masters 1, or when they get to Tiberium League, they find themselves completely incapable of winning anymore. And I'm going to show you a couple tips and tricks as to why that is and what you can do to keep improving. And really, it all boils down to two things. So you guys ready? Rule number one, contest all three pads if you can. Not just two of them, jump on all three pads. And rule number two right now for you guys is counter, as opposed to just be set in your ways. Be flexible, right? So in this case, I see shockwaves, I see lots of I see the grenadiers, I see lots of anti-infantry units. I try my best to counter them with my shockwaves. Notice how I was a little bit slow. I was hoping to stall them out just enough to get this missile. Unfortunately, I didn't get there fast enough. I should have charged another war dog to the third pad. I didn't do so, and now I'm stuck. So I lose this first missile. I didn't contest all three pads. Right? And that's how I lost. He contested all three pads and he won. The people from the Baguette clan, they're pretty good players, most of them. I think a few of them are in the top 100. So they're a good clan. And so I'm going to show you guys here what I mean by play by reaction as opposed to taking pre-action. Anyway, preemptive action. Sorry, right? Be reactive. I see that he's got the Pitbull as his main anti-infantry counter, so I have an Orca there. Why? The Orca can basically one-shot them once it gets the chance. I see a couple Grenadiers, in which case my Talon is going to do real good work against. I see he's got Sniper, so my War Dogs are going to do well against them. So in this case, I am just trying to play the counters properly, but the Snipers, it is very difficult for me to put the shockwaves into position. So that's rule number one, is contest all three pads. Number two that you guys can do to improve your game is to try to be more reactionary and flexible in what you see. And the third thing is do not get flustered easily. Sometimes you're going to lose matchups. Like here, I do see his, what do you call that big thing? Hammerhead, right? Those things are tough to beat. So I roll out my Pitbull. I was patient. Instead of preemptively just rolling out unit after unit, I roll up my Pitbull. I know tanks can take quite a bit of beating, so I let my tank go in there and absorb the damage, and now I'm contesting all three pads. Notice how by waiting till the last second to knock out a lot of his units, he kept rolling out units one after the other. Whereas for me, I held off just a little bit to see what he was going to do first before I ended up doing it. So now I see his MLRS. He's got all 5 units committed. There's not much he can do once you get these units out here. So I go ahead now and I'm going to use my Pitbull as a distraction on the bottom. I roll out another Rhino tank and I roll out a Pitbull. Why? I know he's got the Hammerhead, so that's what my Pitbull is going to do. And my Orca is going to go down there to try to take out his MLRS. So there it is. So now he doesn't have control of the ground game. It's really just a trade-off, my Orca for his MLRS. I roll out a Shockwave, and the reason for the Shockwave is actually not for the Sniper, but because he's got the MLRS. Look what I do here. I'm going to roll out my Orca. I'm actually gonna let my Shockwaves absorb the damage from the MLRS. A lot of times, it's not about winning the matchup, it's about not losing the matchup. So here, I roll out the Shockwave to not lose the matchup, so I can absorb damage. In doing so, it allows my Orca and my tanks to get in position and advance. I'm going to go ahead and leave his Hammerhead alone. You notice how by that counter, I clear off most of the pad. I knew he was going to do his stupid Dr. Liang drone dirty trick again. So now I roll up my Pitbull to quickly knock that out, which is why I have control here. And notice how I contest all 3 pads. I roll up my War Dog just in case I need to jump on that 3rd pad. And in doing all of this, I was able to get control of this missile and pick up the win against Preacher. So if you find yourself stuck, it is because in lower levels, a lot of times it's quite easy to win matches contesting just 2 pads. But as you get into higher level play, that just isn't possible anymore. I'm going to show you guys a couple other examples. Let me see here. Here, I believe, was a pretty good match. And I know it says resource challenge. I like this because not only are the levels equal to each other, but this map really is the perfect example of how to try to jump on all 3 pads, right, to win. So now I'm going to roll out my War Dog, and I'm going to go check him out. As best I can, I keep the missile going. If you are in the Masters 1, Masters 2, low-level Tiberium League, one of the hardest things you're going to find is you will get out-leveled. So it is important to try to keep the missile going at all times, because then it prevents you from playing players that have like the double harvester decks, and once they roll out their stronger units, you're not going to have much of a chance to win. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about by contesting all 3 pads. I'm going to use my shockwaves to go down to knock out his missile troops. I was being reactive. I am on the 2nd pad. Right now, I know what's coming down the pipeline. I know that he's going to go ahead and try to send his missile squad up. I'm not overly concerned because he's only on 2 pads, whereas I am on all 3. So by the time that my War Dogs up there die, even if I lose my War Dog, I will still get this missile by blocking him off. So see the difference there? So now I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice my War Dog because I don't need them anymore. I roll out a tank and I roll out Pitbull. Typically here, in this situation, I recommend people to try to go after the enemy harvester where possible. In this case, I was unable to do so. I couldn't advance. So again, I'm trying to play my counter. I move my tank up for the sole reason of trying to get the missile to keep it going. Then I take both my units off, allowing them to die. So the missile count is still going. It doesn't matter if the opponent charges it up or I charge it up. As long as it's being charged up, that's all I care about. The Rhino tank is a beefy unit that will allow me to control the map really well. There is the Orca taking out the Pitbull. I saw the Ion Cannon, not really a primary concern of mine. Notice where I dropped my Lieutenant Strong Arm. I dropped it there because it does a really good job of body blocking the enemy units. My Rhino tank has survived 2 of his Pitbull now. I reinforced another Pitbull. I'm on all 3 pads. He isn't, and he's going to lose this missile. And that's how I get the win, right? We are basically equal in units and equal in strategy in terms of how we want to win. The difference is I actively jumped on all 3 pads and he didn't. I'm going to show you guys here an example of someone who does it even better than me. I lost this match in the resource challenge. Remnant? Grim Remnant. What does that even mean? Grim Remnant, like you're a sad thing of the past? Like Grim... Well, at least he didn't spell like Grime Remnant. But anyway, I'm gonna open up my War Dog now, and he is using a very similar strategy to mine, which is trying to keep the missile going. I notice that he's jumping on top of the pad. I am not going to engage his missile squad with my War Dogs one-on-one, but I am willing to go 2-on-1 on him. Right? He smartly backs it off. I advance just to see what he's doing. I want to see if he's got a double harvester or anything like that. My War Dog's got no issues contesting him one-on-one. I do notice there's a bit of running around, which is why I go ahead and leave my shockwaves up there. And look, we are basically playing a dancing match right now because he's out micro me so far. What I should have done was move down my shockwave earlier because they're a very slow unit. I didn't, and so now I am caught with my shockwaves not doing anything, my Pitbull taking on damage for no reason. So now I rolled down my shockwave to try to take out his infantry, but notice how he is in a much better position than I am. He's got all of his units clustered together. I do not. I am all scattered. My shockwaves are not doing anything against his laser squad. His laser squad are just absolutely shredding me. I try my best to win the top 2 missiles, but he smartly moves his unit away. I couldn't do anything because his laser troop is in the perfect position to shut me down, and so I concede this missile here, right? Nothing I can do. No point sacrificing even more units. Instead of going after his bike there, which was foolish on my part, I should let the 2 units live, let him charge up the missile for me, and then try to advance later with weakened units. So there's the shockwave going down, doing his damage against his laser squads. He's got his venom there. The reason I'm rolling out the tank is because the tank can take quite a bit of damage. So even if his stealth tank gets off the full load against my Rhino tank, it's not going to kill it. I do see the danger there of the Giga Cannon, which is why I roll out my Orca. I'm trying my best to take out his, what do you call it, his Giga Cannon, but I'm not going to force my way down. Because he did such a great job in the beginning, take out all of my units, there's nothing I can do right now. I moved up my shockwaves to eat up the stealth tank shots. Before I move my Orca back, he's going to chase down my Orca. Fortunately, my War Dog gets there just in time to block him off. Again, I'm going to go ahead and let my War Dog eat the damage where I can. So there's my War Dog. I'm going to let it eat the damage. I'm trying my best right now to press my advantage down, but I moved just too little too late. He did a better job preserving his unit, and he got this win. Right. Great example of him controlling that missile. Even though he didn't win on all three, I couldn't even win the second one, and I had no chance. So Grim Remnant, great match. Thank you for playing. So this is an example of what not to do. I'm going to show you guys a game against Nukin. He is a very high-ranked player. Great player. I was told that he was using a sponsored deck, which means people pay him money to watch him play, which great way of making money. I'm glad you guys never pay me, and I don't think that's a route I'm ever going to take, because I'm not good enough to get paid. The whole point of Poor Man Gamer is I want to try to keep it free for y'all. So here he scouts with a rifleman, and looking at his deck, I figured what he was trying to do was preserve his capital by using those new scavengers, right? A very deadly unit to build up his economy. And look at that, I intentionally did not build any new units because I needed to see what he was doing first. I do notice that he's got the scavenger there, so I was trying not to engage his rifleman, but he blocks me off like the jerk that he is, so I have to kill him off and give him 10 Tiberium. So there's a 10 Tiberium that he picked up. I don't want this missile to stall out because I do notice that he's just kind of standing around, stalling out the missile. And with all of the scavengers out there on the map, I'm going to go ahead and engage him with my shockwaves instead to take him out. I'm going to try to focus on one unit at a time so that he doesn't pick up too many free dollars. I'll go ahead and drop my Lieutenant Strong Arm, which is going to do a great job forming a wall against anything that he sends my way. There's no possible way now he can contest that bottom missile, and I'm going to get the win. Why am I sending my shockwaves forward? Because right now I have way too many shockwaves on the map. I've got 3 of them. Right? If he sends any other unit my way, I'm going to die. So I actually go ahead and send him there just to die, so that I can regain my flexibility. I see a lot of riflemen right now, which is why I go ahead and force up my shockwave. I see tons of infantry. My shockwaves are my natural infantry counter. I don't see that he's got any anti-air right now, which is why I am not afraid to roll out an Orca and pressure his economy. Out comes the really, really powerful Cyborg. Unfortunately, he couldn't get off another load. I do see the Cyborgs coming. The shockwaves are the natural counter to them. I'm going to bait him to come in a little closer, so I form my 2-on-1 wall against him. There's the 2-on-1 wall with my Lieutenant Strong Arm. I was inviting him to come in. He didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this missile going now. The reason I roll a War Dog down there is because War Dogs do a great job against those commandos. What do they call them? Those minigun men. I don't know what they're called, to be honest with you. The minigun men. So this allows me to contest all 3 missiles. I'm not too worried about the Cyborg because I know I'm putting him in an awkward position where he's either going to go after my Harvester or contest the missile. I know for sure I can get 2 out of the 3 because I've got a matchup advantage on 2 out of the 3. I basically sacrificed my Orca on the top to try to jump on all 3 missiles. I love the Lieutenant Strong Arm in this map, and fortunately I was able to get the win. And even if he was able to get that Harvester in position, I would have jumped into that 3rd tile, and I was able to give myself a lucky win. Right? I'll be honest with you. I think Nukin was probably tired by this point. When you played a sponsored deck, a lot of people are watching you, a lot of pressure. So hopefully I'll get a chance to play you again. And guys, those are really the tips that I have to give you. Right? Try your best to contest all 3 pads. As much as possible, play in a more reactionary style, not be overly aggressive. And if you implement just these little things, I guarantee that you're going to start winning more matches again. And as always, keep that missile going. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day. Take care.